In honor of National Beef Month, we want to check in with a former U.S. Army Ranger turned rancher who's on a mission to not only bring premium beef to consumers, but also to save independent farms from disappearing. We welcome to the program founder of KC Cattle Company, Patrick Montgomery. Thank you so much for your time today and for your service. So give us some background on your time as a U.S. Army Ranger.
Well, it was definitely a busy time to be an Army Ranger. It would have been like the 2011 through the 2015 time period. So things were hot and heavy with Afghanistan at that point.
Boy, yeah, you were busy and probably had some tough assignments. Talk about your transition from that into being a rancher and entrepreneur.
I think the toughest part about getting out, and you can have the best plan in the world as far as, planning your next job, where you're going to go to school, et cetera. But the part I missed the most was definitely the purpose and the camaraderie. And through happenstance, I got brought on this path of entrepreneurship, and it's been a journey to get to where we're at today. But it is a purpose that I believe in, and I honestly think, veterans need that purpose post-service.
Absolutely, we all do. You want to make sure that you're relevant, you're doing something that matters, right? So talk about your mission of providing a solution to some supply chain concerns while also offering that high-quality American-grown beef.
Well, with the KC Cattle Company, that was the original company that I started in 2016, and we had this kind of American success story, especially after the hot dog, right? We got voted world's best hot dog, and that was kind of what put us on the map. And and then we got our tail ends kicked for a couple years after that with a whole bunch of reasons of things happening in the protein market that let us down, creating Valor Provisions. And the whole premise of Valor Provisions is, okay, guys, how do we not only take care of the consumer and find really quality products that we can bring to them at the best possible price, but also, create a business model where we're paying the rancher and protein producers throughout the United States a premium that allows them to keep their doors open for future generations.
And talk a little bit too about just that consumer, that direct-to-consumer food model, because that's been a big focus for you, right?
Yes, by accident, really. We pivoted to that in 2018, and I would argue it's what keeps a lot of protein producers from jumping into the direct to consumer model. Is it's really tough to ship a perishable product across the country, and so we did get pretty good at that. And now it's pretty exciting for us to be able to offer that to other protein producers who may not want to deal with the hassle of packing perishable products and dealing with consumer stuff.
Yeah, that can be a challenge. Hey, I want to go back to you. You mentioned that wagyu hot dog, and I think that actually went viral. I mean, that really kind of put you guys on the map, as you said. So talk about how consumers are wanting to be more transparent about their food options and learning where their food comes from.
Well, I think we're kind of, society at large right now has really become aware of what they're putting in their bodies and how it affects them. And so they want transparency on the protein producers part and the grocery stores part of, hey, what's actually in this product? And on top of that, what kind of transparency practices are you using as a company to allow us to trust you? And so that's the whole premise behind Valor Provisions is, we're getting away from just USDA claims, and we're actually going to the source of the animals being produced and, showing that to our customers. And it's a really fun journey.
It is, and it's fun getting to know your farmer and where your food comes from. Before we wrap, what's your message to both cattle producers and consumers as we celebrate National Beef Month?
I think to cattle producers, I know it's tumultuous time, so I'm just going to say hang in there. And for other military folks, I would say, we talked about purpose at the beginning of this. I know that transition out can be tough, especially for those of us that were combat veterans. But if you focus on finding that next purpose and also use those things that happened to you while you were in the military, and turn it from a point of detriment to a positive, it can make you an indomitable force.
Good advice. You've definitely done that. That's founder of KC Cattle Company there in Missouri. That's Patrick Montgomery. Appreciate your time today.